KP classes dedicated to excellence.
Hello everyone. So if you are preparing for GATE exam or any other competitive exam in architecture and planning, it is very important for you to go through NBC standards. And not only the standards, you must also look into the definitions. Now, you must have seen the definitions are given in part 3, volume 1 of NBC. Part 3, Volume 1 of NBC. Now, in this particular part, you have the very basic definitions that are there. Now, if you go through the content of NBC, you will see that in Volume 1 and Volume 2, various other topics are also covered. For example, acoustics, for example, fire, HVAC, escalators, elevators, etc. So it is very important for you to go through these definitions. In various competitive exams, direct questions are asked based on the understanding of these definitions. So if you are targeting 2025 and if you want to practice all the numerical concepts with respect to all the entire syllabus, and if you want to revise all the theory concepts, we at KP classes have come up with a 10 days fast track batch which will be starting on the 19th of January, that is this month. If you want to enroll in this particular batch, if you want to utilize the remaining time to the best, you can click on the link given in the description. Now you can from the perspective of GATE exam, we are going through a few of those definitions which will give you a guidance as to what and how to go through this particular document. Starting with the habitable room definition. Now, a habitable room according to NBC is a place where you can sleep, eat and do various other activities, and this habitable room will exclude your corridors, attics, bathroom areas, water closet areas, etc. That is the definition of habitable room. Now, the next one is mezzanine floor. What is a mezzanine floor? For example, let's say this is the section or a cross section of a building and this is the ground line, for example. Okay, many times you will see that another floor gets added in between the roof and the floor. Okay, this is the mezzanine floor. Now, with respect to the mezzanine floor, there are various standards as to what should be the clear height, what should be the maximum area of the mezzanine floor, etc., which we will cover when we start with the standards. Okay, next is loft. Loft is what? Let's say there is this particular room, okay, of, for example, a height of 3 meters. Now, there will be a construction of a loft above the door height usually, okay, and this loft area is usually constructed to store goods. Okay, this is not for any human movement or human habitation, that is only for storage of goods, that is loft. Then there is something called as setback line. Okay, for example, let's consider a plot of 20 meter by 50 meter, for example. Okay, and this is the road abutting it, for example. Okay, now you must be aware or you must have seen in various areas that a certain distance from the road or from the plot line is left. Okay, definitely in the front area, and you may have a little bit of distance left in the rear side and on the sides as well. This is what? This is setback. Setback is the minimum distance that you leave from the plot line, and beyond this setback line, you cannot construct anything permanent. Some constructions with respect to temporary ones are allowed. That is also given in NBC. Go and have a look at it. But reiterating, no permanent construction is allowed beyond this setback line. Okay. Now, with respect to this setback line, what you can do is, as an extra reading, go through the definitions of what is a building line and what is a control line. Go through these definitions and comment in the comment box if you have any doubts with respect to this. Moving on. NBC Volume 1 Part 3, and now we talk about standards. So if you have looked at the previous year question papers, you will find that more than the definitions, your standards are asked. Let's go through them one by one. Okay, first, starting with the habitable room. Now we have seen the definition of a habitable room. Now, what are the standards with respect to the area, with respect to the height, and any other standard with respect to an additional condition if it is given? Okay. Starting with where there is only one room. So you are aware of all the configurations. You can have a 1 RK, you can have a studio apartment, you can have 1 BHK, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, and so on. In case where you have just one room, in that case, the minimum area that should be given for one habitable room is 9.5 meter square. Okay, and the minimum width is also given. So you have a room, the area of this room should be 9.5, and the minimum width of this room should be 2.4. More than 2.4 is allowed, less than 2.4 is not allowed, and this is where you have just one room. Where there are two rooms, okay, let's say it's a 2 BHK. When in case you have two rooms, one of those rooms will have 9.5 square meter, that remains the same, and the other one will be not less than 7.5 square meter with a minimum width of 2.1. So in this case, your room area changes in case of two rooms to 7.5 meters square, and the minimum width also changes and becomes 2.1 meter. Okay, now height of all the rooms in human habitation, for human habitation, shall not be less than 2.75 meter. Now we are talking in terms of elevation. Okay, let's see. This is the room, this is the ground line, for example, okay, or this is the floor line. Okay, now the height should not be less than 2.75 meters. Now you must have seen room heights of 3 meter, 4 meter, 4.5 meter, everything is okay, but must not be less than 2.75 meter according to NBC. Now what if we were to construct, let's say, a room with a sloping roof, for example like this, or with a sloping roof in this manner. Okay, now what is going to be the minimum height? In case of pitched roof, the average height of the rooms shall not be less than 2.75 meter. Okay, now this is considered from where? From the lowest point of the pitched roof. Another point in this, for AC rooms, minimum height from floor to false ceiling should be a minimum of 2.4 meter. Now how to remember all of this? Make a table. Make two columns in that. One, you write the area. One, you write the width or the height. Okay. And for each and every room, for example, for one habitable room, you make a table, then you add to it. For a kitchen, you add. For a bathroom, you add. Okay, and look at it multiple times. It is something that you have to learn. Okay, so multiple revisions and having a look at it multiple times will help. In one sitting, you will not be able to remember everything. You will get confused. Moving on. Now we are talking about kitchen. The definition of kitchen is not required. We directly move to the standards. Height of the kitchen shall not be less than 2.75 meter, same as our minimum height of habitable room. Next, the area of a kitchen where separate dining area is provided shall not be less than 5 meter square with a minimum width of 1.8 meter. Now you all must know that kitchen has various configurations. For example, you can have a kitchen in the living room, you can have a kitchen attached to the dining room, or you may or may not have a separate store area for the kitchen. For all of these configurations, different you can say standards have been given. So first we have covered where separate dining area is provided. Second, where there is a separate store and it is not a part of the kitchen. What happens at that time? the area of the kitchen may be reduced to 4.5 meters square. From 5 meters square, we can reduce it to 4.5 meters square if there is a separate store. Okay, next. In the case of kitchen plus dining area, this was kitchen separately and dining area separately. Now we come to kitchen plus dining area. What shall be the area in this case? Area shall not be less than 7.5 meters square and a minimum width of this configuration kitchen plus dining must be 2.1 meter of width. Okay, this is with respect to kitchen. Next, very frequently standards with respect to bathroom and water closets have been asked in various competitive exams. This is an important topic for you. Okay, the height of a bathroom shall not be less than 2.1 meter. For habitable room and for kitchen, we have seen this to be 2.75 meter, which changes to 2.1 meter in case of bathrooms. Okay, next. The area of the bathroom shall not be less than 1.8 meter with a minimum width of 1.2 meter. So again, in this case of a bathroom, your minimum area and minimum width has been given to you, 1.8 meter square and 1.2 meter. This is for the bathroom, only for the activity of bath. Okay, next comes the room for water closet. What happens with this is the floor area for a water closet shall be 1.1 meter square, again talking in terms of the minimum area required, with a minimum width of 0.9 meter. This is when you have just the water closet. Before this you had a scenario where you had just the bath area. Now we come to the third configuration where you will have the bathroom and the water closet attached. Okay, so if bath and water closet are combined, its floor area shall not be less than 2.8 meter square with a minimum width of 1.2 meter square. The kind of configuration that we usually give is, for example, this is the bathroom. We give the entry from here. We have the wash basin. We have, let's say, the bathing area, and we have the WC, for example. Okay, in this case, where it is attached, you will have the area not less than 2.8 meter square with the minimum width not less than 1.2 meter. In many cases, you must have seen it to be 1 meter or 1.1 meter. That is not allowed as per NBC standards mentioned in volume 1 part 3. Okay, next, remember we saw the definition of mezzanine floor. Now we come to the standards. Shall have a minimum height of 2.2 meter. So for example, this is the elevation. Okay, this is, for example, commercial area with 5 meter height or 4.5 meter height, and you decide to give a mezzanine floor over here. Okay, now the minimum height of this mezzanine floor shall not be less than 2.2 meter. We can think of the obvious reasons. A human being should be able to walk and should be able to work in this particular area, since it could be a part of your commercial area or your institution area. So the minimum height requirement is 2.1, and for mezzanine we give 2.2 meter for proper activities and movement of human being. Next, the minimum size of mezzanine floor, if it is to be used as a living room, shall not be less than 9.5 meters square. If it is to be used as a living room, of course it becomes a habitable room, and we have already seen the standards of a habitable room. It should have a minimum area of 9.5 meters square. So the same has been applied in case of your mezzanine floor as well. Now, the aggregate area of such mezzanine floor in a building shall in no case exceed 1/3 of the plinth area of the building. 1/3. So for example, you see this area, the plinth area. Okay, if the plinth area is to be X, the mezzanine floor will not exceed 1/3 of X. Okay, you will see that in in case of In the name of addition of a mezzanine floor, many people make an entire floor. Okay, in that case it will be ground floor and first floor separately, and not it won't be called as a mezzanine floor. So it should not exceed 1/3 of the plinth area in mezzanine floor. Next, in case of a loft, now if you remember we talked about loft, and in loft you should have just storage of goods. Okay, and human activity or human movement is not allowed in case of a loft. So let us look at the standards for this. The minimum headroom for ledge or tan loft shall be 2.2 meter. The minimum headroom in case of tan should be 2.2 meter. The maximum height of the loft shall be 1.5 meter. Now in case of 1.5 meter, human activity cannot happen, human movement cannot happen, only storage of goods. So 1.5 meter is good enough. The maximum height of loft is 1.5. Shall not cover more than 25% of the area. In mezzanine floor we had 30%, here in the case of loft we have 25% as the maximum area. Okay, of the area of the floor of a habitable room. Next, shall not interfere with the ventilation of the room. In whichever manner the ventilation of a particular room has been designed, you cannot have the loft hindering the ventilation, hindering the light coming from that opening. You cannot have that. Okay, next. In case of ramps. Now what are ramps? You must be aware that if you want to go from one level to another level, one option that you have is that of a staircase. Another option that you have is of a sloping land. Now this is called as a ramp. Okay. Now with respect to ramp, if we think logically, what should happen? The height should not be much, because the human activity or movement of pedestrian movement or movement of the wheelchair will be very difficult. Okay. Another thing, it should not be very gradual also. Why? The area required for that will increase, as well as the cost of construction of the ramp will increase. Okay. So for that we need certain guidelines, and we need a minimum slope and a maximum slope in this case, so that our human activities and movement is proper, considering the area factor and the cost of construction factor as well. So coming to ramps, one-way ramp of clear width of minimum 3 meter and two-way ramp with clear width of minimum 6 meter. This is what, let's say this is a ramp. In this, if you want to allow two-way movement, people from this level can also go to the upper level, and from this level can also come to the lower level. If you want to have a two-way movement, you should have the minimum width as 6. If you want to allow only one-way movement, the minimum width should be that of 3 meter. One-way ramp of clear width minimum 4.5 meter and two-way ramp with clear width of minimum 9 meter. Okay, this is in case of LMV, this is in case of LCV. Remember the difference. Next, ramp slope shall be a maximum of 1.8. This is as per NBC. It allows a maximum slope of only 1.8 with respect to various other documents. For example, barrier-free document with respect to the UDCPR, or with respect to, you can say, the document of your city. This may vary, but according to NBC, it is 1.8. Now, how to remember or how to figure out what you have to answer? In the question, you will always be given the name of the document. For example, if they want to ask with respect to barrier-free document, they will mention as per the barrier-free document. In this case, they will mention as per the National Building Code of India 2016, or in short form NBC. You have to check in the question what document has been mentioned before answering. Okay. Moving on. Distance from the electric lines. When an overhead line of voltage exceeding 650 volt passes above or adjacent to any building or part of a building, it shall have, on the basis of maximum sag. This is what, let's say this is the connection. For example, The electric lines are usually not, you can say, a straight line. There is always this sag that usually comes in. Okay, and the standard has been given with respect to this sag. Okay, moving on. Okay, on the basis of maximum sag of a vertical clearance above the highest part of the building immediately under such line, if not less than. First, for lines of voltage exceeding 640 volt, it is 3.5 meter up to and including 33 kilovolt. Next, for lines of voltage exceeding 33 kilovolt, 3.5 meter plus 0.3 for every additional 33 kilovolt or part thereof. So first condition you have been given with respect to 650 volt. The second condition you have been given with respect to exceeding 33 kilovolts, and in case you can say in case this 33 kilovolt is exceeding, then you have been given a standard 3.5 meter plus 0.3 meter for every additional of 33 kilovolt or part thereof. Okay, next. Again, with respect to distance from the electrical lines, the horizontal clearance between the nearest conductor and any part of such building shall, on the basis of maximum deflection due to wind pressure. Now, this is considering the maximum deflection due to wind pressure also. Okay, it's not from the point where, not from the point, but it is considering the deflection as well. So for lines of voltage exceeding 650 volt and up to and including 11 kilovolt, you have the distance as 1.2 meter. Next, for lines of voltage exceeding 11 kilovolt and up to and including 33 kilovolt, you have it as 2 meter. So first one, 650 volt to 11 kilovolt, the distance to be left is 1.2 kilometer. Next, between 11 kilovolt to 33 kilovolt, the distance to be left is 2 meter. And the last, for the lines of voltage exceeding 33 kilovolt, it should be 2 meter plus 0.3 meter for every addition of 33 kilovolt or part thereof. Okay, so first 650 to 11 kilovolt, 1.2 meter. Next, 11 kilovolt to 33 kilovolt, you have to leave a distance of 2 meter. Above 33, you have to leave 2 meter plus 0.3 in case of every addition of 33 kilovolt or part thereof. Next, now with respect to staircase, the minimum width is usually given with respect to the typology or the type of occupancy that there is. For example, okay, let's think logically. Let's say in case of a residential building, the number of people using a particular floor or the number of people per, let's say, 100 square meter is less. But when it comes to institution, think of a educational building, think of any public semi-public building, the number of people or the occupancy per floor changes, and that is huge. So the staircase width must also change with respect to the occupancy. Okay, starting with residential, you have 1 meter. Now in residential you have various subdivisions as well. For example, residential A2, A1, A3, A4, A5 and A6. Now what is all these subdivisions? Let's have a look at this. First one is A1, that is lodging and rooming houses. Okay. Second, A2, 1 or 2 family private. Second, A3 is dormitories, A4 is apartment houses, A5 hotels, and last A6 as starred hotels. So under residential you have A1 to A6 that you need to know and understand and learn in order to remember the staircase minimum width. Okay, for A2 you have 1 meter, A2 is 1 or 2 family private. Next, A1, A3 and A4, it is 1.25. You can see it is increasing. Why? A1, lodging and rooming, A3, dormitories, A4, apartment houses. The number of people per unit area is increasing, hence the staircase width is also increasing. So A1, A3, A4 is 1.25, A5 and A6 is 1.5. Next, for assembly buildings, the minimum width should be 2. Educational buildings, minimum width is 1.5. Institution 2, and for all the other occupancies, it is 1.5 meter. Next, the minimum requirement for the fire tender movement. Minimum 6 meter driveway width. Driveway width is for the movement of the fire tender. Minimum 6 meter driveway width and 9 meter width at turning, that is the turning radius should be 9 meter. For the driveway it should be 6 meter. Shall be available for fire tender movement all around the podium. All around the podium. Let's say this is what we are talking about. Here it should be 6 meter. Here also 6 meter. 6 meter. And at the bottom also 6 meter. So all around the podium you should leave 6 meter driveway and turning radius should be 9 meter. Okay. Now you must have gone through all of these standards at least once in your bachelor's. You just had to revise it and learn and remember this for your competitive exam. Now, if you are targeting GATE 2025, in the remaining time, you should utilize your time effectively. You should revise whatever you have learned in the past 1 year, or you must have studied that in your bachelor's in any of the 5 years. So if you are targeting 2025 and if you want to practice all the numerical concepts with respect to all the entire syllabus, and if you want to revise all the theory concepts, we at KP Classes have come up with a 10 days fast track batch which will be starting on the 19th of January. That is this month. If you want to enroll in this particular batch, if you want to utilize the remaining time to the best, you can click on the link given in the description, or you can call us or WhatsApp us on this number to enroll. Please do not miss this opportunity. Utilize it to the best. Revise, practice, and be very confident for your exam. In this course, we will also be looking at the previous year important questions. You will also get mini mocks, that is going to be 1 year test, and you will get 1 mock in this as well. Now this mock that we are talking about is going to be in the exact format in which you get your exam paper, GATE exam paper. So you must not miss this opportunity. Enroll quickly into this. Now, whatever we have spoken till now with respect to the standards, with respect to the definitions, let us see what kind of questions have been asked in the previous GATE exam. First, in GATE 2018, this question was asked. As per NBC 2016, the minimum turning radius in meter required for fire tender movement is what? 8, 8.5, 9 or 9.5. We just saw that the answer is 9 meter. Second, in GATE 2013, this question was asked. As per NBC, that is National Building Code, the minimum size of habitable room in square meter is what? Now we had two conditions with respect to that. For any case where there is one room, it should be 9.5. In case there are two rooms, it should be 7.5. So since it is not mentioned over here, it could be anything. Let's see what options have been given. 9.5, 10.5, 11.5 and 12.5. Out of these options, we know that option number A, that is 9.5 meter square, should be the correct answer. So look at the questions. It's been very easy questions have been asked from this. You just have to revise whatever you have studied to crack this. Okay, thank you. We will end the class over here.
KP Classes, dedicated to excellence.